breathing. This, to me, guys, is probably one of the most important things you have to master. Singing is a group of things together that really do make it happen. But there are times, like any subject, without numbers, there would be no math. Right? So we need to know the value of numbers. And then, yes, everything else after that. So I also say breathing to me is like the engine of a car. It's the energy source. Right. It gets all the car going, the tires turning, right? So that's really what it comes down to. You can technically get from A to B in a car without an engine, but you get a lot of people pushing it. Right. It's a lot harder. It takes a lot longer. Yeah. I mean, technically you could, but if you put the engine in, you don't need to worry about that. You get there quicker. It's a lot easier, right? It helps everything run smoothly. So that is this. That's breathing. Okay. It's our energy source. So what we want to be applying is diaphragmatic breathing. Okay. What the heck is that? Right? It sounds like a jumble, but the reason it is called diaphragmatic breathing is ultimately we are using our diaphragm and our stomach muscles, but most importantly, we're using our stomach muscles, our diaphragm, to help push the sound out. Because if we are not, we will be using more of in through here. Got it. And we don't want things tight in through there, right? So we are going to be using diaphragmatic breathing as a note, and I'll show you this as well. The diaphragm this is a cool picture showing the flow of things. Your lungs are here and the diaphragm is attached to the lungs underneath. And so how this works, right, is the exercises are, first let's just figure out how you're breathing, right? So I want for you to take one hand and put it on your chest and one on your stomach and take a nice breath in. Beautiful. So you're doing that already. Okay. But let's show everyone, right? Let's breathe a little into the chest and notice what happened. Right? That would be chest breathing. Yep. And if you're doing that, we don't want to do that. Okay. Why we don't want to do that? I think that's super important. Lots of people come, they've been in choruses, they've had other teachers, they've seen these things, they've watched videos, okay, this is how you do it. But I feel like value comes when I actually know why. Right. Why is that even important? Great, you're showing me this. Yeah, a lot of people say that. Okay, I can understand there's value. But like why? Even more. And so when we can understand that, I think there's more purpose and therefore more drive to want to instill that habit. Right. That technique. Definitely. So the reason is when you breathe into your chest, you feel this tighten. Yeah. It's shallow breathing. Yep. Right? We're not filling and expanding our lungs the same. We're not going to have that capability. And you're tightening things in through here. Right? You feel that tight? Yes. And we know our vocal cords are here. Right. We know the vocal cords need to shift even more so in singing than in speaking. Right? Higher we go, they go. The higher we go, they tighten. The lower we go, they loosen. Right. So that is why we can't be doing that. Okay. If I'm breathing my chest, I'm right, you just hear it right there in the throat. Almost makes it want to choke. So that is why we don't want to be doing that there. Okay. So the exercise is as follows. Times I can't talk, guys. It's just part of the name, right? You know that. Like I do. It's okay. So we put one hand in the chest, one in the stomach. And the reasoning for this is it's a guide. You can also, I highly, highly, highly recommend use a mirror. Okay. You can see, a lot of times people will be doing a combination, right? You see both my hands moving there, and they're thinking they're mastering it because they're seeing this happen. But ultimately, we really need a lot that movement out through in here. Right. So if I'm looking in a mirror, almost instantaneously, over and over, I'll see people and they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like, because there's something about the watching. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you still can be doing this here. And what we're looking for is when we breathe in, air goes into the lungs. Now, the trick is this. A lot of times when I say breathe in, instinctively, people think in and they do this. Yeah. It's the word. Yeah. We need to understand the word in a different context than pulling in. Think about when you put air into the balloon, what happens to it? It expands. It expands. It gets bigger not smaller.
Right.
So when we breathe in, our lungs expand, and then as we let that out, they get smaller, contracts, right? So when we're breathing in, bigger, we want our stomach, it's like a balloon. Sometimes it helps people to think about that way. I'm gonna fill up a balloon in my belly, and then we let that out. Yeah. And then we breathe in and out. Beautiful. Some artists, it helps them to put a couple hands here. Your posture is good, but some people tend to just naturally just want to slouch. This kind of helps because your diaphragm does go around into the back.
Okay.
So it helps kind of hold that posture. And now try it. You feel the hands on the side going as well.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's the two different ways that you can approach that. If you're going, oh my gosh, I really just cannot get this, I'm having a really hard time. A, be patient, because I find if you are not doing, Renee is doing it naturally, didn't always start that way.
No.
And so, but if you aren't, what you can do is first you can lay down. When we lay down, we naturally breathe into the stomach. So that could be a way where you're laying down, put a hand on the stomach, and you can start to feel that movement. You can also start by just sticking the stomach out, kind of getting used to it. I think there's just something about breaking that habit, like holding it in.
Yeah.
Just be like, I'm just going to stick the stomach out.
Yep.
I always say with this too, people are like, Patrice, I don't have to stick my stomach out.
Right.
Listen, if you are sounding amazing,
yeah.
no one's going to sit there and be like, oh, she's, they stuck their stomach out. It's like, you're sounding amazing.
Yep.
They're more concerned about your voice.
Yeah.
We're maybe more concerned with that there, but they're not concerned with that. So, so that's on that end there. Okay. So start by sticking out the stomach. You can lay down and feel that there. First and foremost, just focus in on getting that air down into the air. Don't worry about working on what you can now that you're doing it. You can work on how long you're able to exhale for by controlling the stomach muscles, right? We breathe in and then slowly out. And when you're breathing out, you want to make sure too you're not doing this. I call it like ringing the towel, right? Like, oh, I got another second. And it's like, yeah, but you just reset right back into your chest. So it doesn't, you reset it in the way we don't want to. Right. So you'd work on then how long you're able to exhale for. Okay. And a key thing too is as these things get added on, applying to songs, right? There's no going back. Once you know, there's no going back. Right. You can pretend, but So don't rush to the key thing, because this is one of the major fundamentals that we need to have in. And a fundamental is a building block, of which everything else in a lot of fields, right? Math, I mentioned. A fundamental of math, building block, is numbers, the value. Then we have addition, subtraction. Those are some fundamentals. And then you go crazy into other realms of things. Right. So in singing, breathing properly is one of the major fundamentals that we have to have. And so, don't rush through these things here. And as you're adding them in, or as you're learning the technique, start applying it in the context of within a song. What matters there. So.